I want to kind of put things into perspective of what's going on. And a lot of what we've been talking about over the last month or two is really a kind of a continuation of what's going on. And I'm kind of giving you the play-by-play of how things are unwinding. And so I've been talking about something called the Crypto Unwind, or I was calling it the Great Unwind. And what I'm talking about is an unwind of leverage, or deleveraging, if you will. Now, we see that there's leverage all over the system, and typically leverage is built up through credit. Now, in our existing monetary system that we have in the world today, it's a debt-based monetary system, and so that means that all money that's created is debt. So we talk about the Federal Reserve just printing buttons, pushing a button and printing money. That's not really the way it works. Money is created through debt issuance. So when you go get a loan for a car, boat, house, boat, whatever, that money is created into existence. And it creates massive amounts of leverage because it's all debt. So think about it for your own self, like your own personal household. Let's say that you were using leverage to build assets. Let's say you were back to 2008, as a matter of fact, is a good parallel to what we're going to talk about today. So back in 2008, people were able to buy multiple houses at the same time. And so people would go to these like new housing developments in California or Arizona or Nevada, Florida. Those are kind of the hot spots of the country. And these home prices were exploding so fast. They were going up so fast that people could just go to a brand new housing development, put their name down, a deposit down on a house, sometimes $1,000, $5,000 down on a house. And then once those houses were built, they could just sell them and make $20,000, $30,000 per house times 5 or 10, however many they bought. So they're putting $1,000 or $5,000 down, and then they're making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 down on a house. They're using leverage. It was that credit that was being extended to them. And that works great. You can grow really, really fast with that leverage. Another way you can use leverage is, let's say that your business is expanding. Let's say that you were in the construction business, and so obviously construction business was booming, and so we needed contractors to go out there and frame the walls and hang the drywall, put the roofs on, build the fences, do the landscaping, etc. And so I might have, or other people might have gone and bought 5 or 10 homes at a time. A lot of people were doing this, and so there's a lot of demand for houses. And so now these contractors that deliver these services also use leverage, and so they would go out and take loans to then buy more trucks and buy more equipment and hire more crews. And that leverage, that credit that was extended to them, allowed them to build much faster, to scale their business, to take advantage of all that incoming business. And so leverage works really well. Debt, leverage, credit, whatever you want to call it. That credit, that debt, that leverage allows us to grow really fast. And if you were playing this real estate game, you were leveraging that credit and you were getting 5, 10, 20 homes, and they were growing really fast. Or you were building your business really, really fast. That was great. The problem is when we get to the end of that credit cycle. So throughout this long-term credit cycle, we're using more debt, credit, leverage everywhere, growing. Not just you, not just the roofer, the framer, the window guy, the landscaper, etc., but the homeowners buying the homes, but the whole system. The entire monetary system is basically doing that. So we have these long-term credit cycles, and all this credit, debt, leverage builds up in the system, and we grow. A massive growth. Gross domestic product is exploding. The economy is doing good. There's more money. People are going and spending more on clothes and at restaurants, and then those restaurants are expanding, etc. So you can see how this winds up. The problem is when it unwinds down. And so just as fast as it grows on the upside, it actually unwinds and deleverages way faster. Now you can think about this easy. It takes a while to take on debt, to continue to build your portfolio using debt, but you can just default on that debt instantly and all that can just disappear. And that's exactly what happens when things turn. And so back to 2008, all those people that had used debt, credit, leverage to build up those portfolio of all those homes, all those contractors who had scaled their businesses and bought all new equipment and new trucks, etc. And then as soon as the market started to crash, it just started to unwind really, really fast. And of course, it led to the great financial crash, 2008. The entire banking system had built up so much leverage because then people were buying homes, and then those homes, those loans were being sold off, And then companies were buying giant packages of these home loans, and they were bundling them together, packaging them together, selling them off in tranches. And then Wall Street was taking these packages, they were repackaging, bundling them, and they would take some high-risk ones, some low-risk ones. They'd put them all together to try to get this blended risk model, and they'd package them together, and they'd sell them off, these mortgage-backed securities, they were called. And so leverage built up from the individual homeowner through the contractors, but it built up all the way through the financial system, all the way through Wall Street and into the global financial system, where all the banks of the world were now trading these mortgage-backed securities. And it became a big mess. So when the financial system crashed, there was exposure to all of this, and this great unwind just dragged everything down. Now, I've told you that story just so you can get an understanding of something that you understand, something that you know, so you can understand how this crypto market crash is also part of the Great Unwind, and how it's interesting that we saw Bitcoin was created out of the great financial crash. As a matter of fact, it was who was developed by Satoshi Nakamoto, famously put a line of text in the very first block that was mined on the Bitcoin network, saying that the chancellor is on the brink of another bailout. So basically showing that this was because of the bailouts that was happening with the banking system. And so he wanted to create something in response to that so that we could get rid of those problems. We wouldn't be subject to those problems happening again. You know, a lot of times it's hard to see where decisions or where things will take us. And so mistakes are made, right? A lot of times people think that we should, move fast and take chances and break things. But you're trying to learn from those mistakes so you don't make those same mistakes again. My dad told me over and over and over as I was growing up, he pounded into my head, always that once is an accident and twice is stupid. And so that means that, hey, look, we all make accidents, right? Let's just keep trying. We'll make accidents, but just don't make the same mistakes again. But unfortunately, we make the same mistakes again. Unfortunately, two things. I think one, they say that history doesn't repeat, it rhymes. Well, it does repeat, and it does rhyme. So we see that happening again. And so they say those who don't know history are bound to repeat it. But then also we have human emotions like greed that get the best of us. And this time will be different, and we're going to go ahead and bet it all. And so I like to say that this leverage is like fire. It can be used to warm up your house or cook your food. Those are good things. Or it could burn your house down. So I want to explain to you how the great unwind in the crypto market is very similar to the 2008 financial crash, what we can learn from this, more importantly, what we can see, how we come out of this, how we can navigate it. I was talking about how Bitcoin, which is the technology leading this decentralized revolution, was designed after the 2008 great financial crash to prevent a lot of the problems that we saw from that crash, but unfortunately, we sort of ended back in the same place. And what I'm calling the Great Unwind. And I'm talking about an unwind of all this leverage, all this credit, all this debt that's been built up in the system. And so I want to kind of break that down so you can see what happened, but also how we can navigate this correctly and how we could maybe learn from these mistakes so we don't get caught up in this again. Now, some people were caught really, really bad, and I've heard, unfortunately, countless stories of people who have lost everything. And some people were caught up a little bit, just maybe their paper gains went down on paper. Now, if your paper gains went down a little bit, whatever. Those paper gains were just paper, and they'll come back eventually. But some people lost real money. As a matter of fact, I was in Austin at Consensus, it's the largest cryptocurrency conference. It was about a month ago, and I was at an after event, and some guy came up to me and he said, "Hey, Mark, I'm a big fan of your show. I've been watching your stuff," and that was cool. We talked for a little bit, and he said, I've been in marketing my whole career, and I built up this company. We specifically did marketing for Medicare and government-sponsored healthcare stuff. And it was a great business, did really well for me, and I made a lot of money, and I just sold the company. We had a big exit, and I'm ready to move on to the next stage of my life. He's over 50 years old. I'm not exactly sure how old he was, but over 50. And he said, "I'm ready to move on to this next stage of my life." And I came to this event, I booked this event, and I bought the whale pass. I bought the most expensive pass I could get so I can come network and try to find my next opportunity. He said, "But I had taken all that money from the sale of my business and I had put it into this Terra Luna stablecoin because it's supposed to be stable. And it offers me this awesome 20% yield. And unfortunately, I lost it all. All his money. He had built this business for most of his professional career, had a nice exit, was looking forward to taking that money and moving on to the next stage of his life. He put it all in, and he got caught in the Great Unwind and lost it all. Now, he's not alone. There's probably millions of people that got caught up in the same situation. It's devastating. So I want to make sure that you don't get caught up in that same situation. And like I said, even if you're on the peripheral. So let's take a look at this. So as I said before, right, Bitcoin was created about 13 years ago, coming out of the 2008 great financial crash, trying to prevent it. And so one of the big problems, as I already explained, is that the banks had built up all this leverage, and then the banks basically caused this crash. Now, a lot of times people want to tell you that it was the homeowners were way too greedy, they bought too many houses, and they were the reason why the markets crashed. That's not true. Yes, homeowners did get too greedy, sure. But they were being given loans by Wall Street because Wall Street was too greedy. And Wall Street packaged these things up into these zombie sausages and sold them and got way too over leveraged. That's what caused the crash. And of course, all markets are cyclical and go up and down. So first of all, let me just say that the Federal Reserve, who backstops the banks, is supposedly, they're telling you and I, that they print all this money per this, what's known as Keynesian economics, in order to prevent booms and busts. Because nobody wants to go through a bust. Nobody wants to lose money, right? And so if they could just pump in more credit, more debt, when those bust cycles come, they could smooth that out. That's the story they tell us. Now, if you believe that, I might have a bridge that I want to sell you as well. Anybody with a few minutes online could look at charts and see that's just absolutely false. As a matter of fact, we have boom and bust cycles going back hundreds of years. And right when the Federal Reserve was created, 1913, the boom and bust cycles have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger every single time. And so they're not smoothing anything out. Now, boom and bust cycles are normal because we're humans and things change. Styles change. What we want and need change. Greed happens and people go, too far one way and then they have to swing back the other way. There's all types of reasons why, I was a manufacturer selling, what were those last things? Oh, those fidget spinners, for example, right? That was a huge boom. Everybody wanted them. You're ordering tons and tons and tons. You can't keep up with the demand. And then all of a sudden, nobody wants them anymore. And anybody who jumped into that business and was manufacturing those things and had ordered a bunch of inventory, they had a bust. It just happens, right? People got too over leveraged in that probably. And so that happens. And so unfortunately, that's just a natural process. Just like the world, we have seasons, right? Spring, summer, winter, fall. And so the spring, everything grows, and the winter, everything dies, and it keeps going, or like a forest fire. Anyway, back to 2008. So the banks created this problem. We had Bitcoin that was created, and Satoshi Nakamoto put a quote in 2009, and he said, quote, "Banks must be trusted to hold our money and transfer it electronically for us, but they lend it out in waves of credit bubbles with barely a fraction in reserve." And they don't even have any reserves today. So basically, they're sending out this money, creating credit bubbles. That's what he talked about. So we give our money to the banks, they loan the money out, and they create these credit bubbles that inevitably crash and cause a fall. There's a great movie that talks about this 2008, The Big Short. If you haven't watched it or read the book is amazing, or you could watch the movie. It's got some great actors in it. And there's a quote that says, "They mistook leverage for genius." So this kind of goes back to Warren Buffett's quote that a rising tide raises all boats. And so when the markets are going up, everybody looks like a genius. You can just close your eyes, buy anything, and you can make money. And then you use leverage, and then you look really smart because you made more money than everybody else. So he says, the quote, "They mistook leverage for genius." And so that's exactly what happened. Now, over the last couple months, we've been seeing the effects of this in the cryptocurrency market. And we've been seeing basically all these cryptocurrency industry giants have been melting down. And they've been basically toppling each other like a set of dominoes. The smaller ones leading to the medium-sized ones, leading to the bigger ones. And now we're pretty much wiped out of that. We're still dealing with that, but most of the leverage has been wiped out. But it was basically like a bunch of nukes in the balance sheet of these crypto lenders that were supposed to be holding money, but they were really just turning themselves into over-leveraged, risky hedge funds.